Hey class, this is Marcos, and I'm just making this week 11 briefing video to make sure you guys are going to be on track and get a good sense of what needs to be done as we continue our independent project and go into what is now the design phase. So basically, as I described in our last class on Thursday, we're going to start working on the logo designs based on the foundation you guys have created over the past weeks in the first phase of the independent project. So by now you should have completed your brand strategy, developed a personality mood board and a set of values and some strategy text that kind of describes your overall approach and your vision and potential ways that you will deliver your solution for your cause in different design modes and mediums. And you should have completed a personality mood board that kind of shows the vision of what the brand is going to be about and who it's for and the look and feel it wants to project, as well as just a general design inspiration mood board to help kind of lay the groundwork for what your design direction is going to be. And most importantly, you should have, if not one, at least a few options, but for sure one name developed and decided on. Like I said in class, if you can't quite decide yet, you can use the logo design phase here to design different logos and help decide what name you want to have. But you don't have to. You can have one name now and kind of know where you want to go and begin to your design process within that one name. And as I said in class, also remember the importance of the name and the fact that it is a design element. It does hold value and it does have equity in terms of what the words are that come out of somebody's mouth or what the words are that somebody reads. That's an element. And if it's a very strong word and it brings a lot of meaning into somebody's mind, you may not necessarily need to support that idea and can support another idea within how you create your design message so that you can bring more depth into what your logo, how it communicates and how effective it is by letting the words carry the weight for part of the messaging and then letting what you do with the use of your design elements carry different messaging. So basically what I want you to do with this is to create 2 to 3 concepts. And I want to go back to the process we learned in our rebrand project, where we took the time to kind of develop an overall strategy for a concept, an overall text statement that kind of said what the theme of the design direction was going to be, and then create some design inspiration that supports that theme, and then create your logo design from the statement and the inspiration so that when you take somebody through and when you go through it yourself, you begin to help bring together an idea by these kind of step-by-step processes. So I just want to show you basically a summary of the example project we've been looking at. And on this top row here, you kind of see what we were talking about in terms of what we've been working on so far. And this is a pretty basic, simple version of it, but I know we spent a lot of time and you may have more pages than this, obviously, but just the idea that you have a name and you have some a concept around that name and some brand values and a personality mood board and kind of a general overall look and feel design inspiration mood board. That's the foundation, that first top row. And then we can see here the next 3 rows have 3 different concepts. As I stated earlier, you can do 3 concepts or you can do 2 concepts. It's up to you, and you can do within each of those concepts at least one logo, but you can do 2, you can do 3, you can do more if you have those ideas. So kind of utilize those levers to give you and myself and the other classmates different options to review and to look at and to discuss. So basically what I'm showing here, each concept has a theme. We have concept 1 is trustworthy, concept 2 is approachable, concept 3 is calming and soothing. And each of them have these set of bullet points that just kind of tell the story of what that concept is about and what it's trying to say. Again, with these different concepts, you may have different possibilities in terms of who your audience member is or how you want to approach the issue, if you want to make it front row or second row to something else. Having these different concepts gives you a chance to target your design towards a different age or a different kind of audience member or towards a different aspect to your brand. So that's where you should really look at the variations in your concept as being ways of saying like, maybe the brand could be more about the cause and much more serious, or maybe the brand could take a different approach and be more friendly and be more approachable and be something that brings somebody in because of some kind of positive values. And then it does have the aspect of the seriousness of your brand. So use those sort of volume levels to help control how your concepts could be different. And then for each concept, I want you to build mood boards. You may take them from your design inspiration board. You know, that might be a place you start, but you know, here's where you begin to think about techniques, like what are techniques that make something look trustworthy or make it look approachable or make it look soothing? What are the graphic techniques, the use of colors, use of type? How do those kinds of techniques allow you to express something? And when you present this, you can cite the effectiveness of a font or the effectiveness of a color or of a shape in connecting with what you're trying to get with the concept theme. Also a good idea, like you see here, the Airbnb logo and some other kind of typography treatments. It's good to show within your mood boards to cite like the Lyft logo, or to cite logos that are doing the same thing that you want to do, have the same kind of messaging that you think is appropriate for your concept, and then use those as examples, and then use those also as design inspiration to get that element in there. And then with each of these here, you see different variations utilizing type and color and shape and form. In this specific student's example here, you kind of can see, particularly when they're laid out here all together, that basically the typography was the same for all the concepts. And that is definitely not something I'm wanting you guys to do. If you choose to do it like this student chose to do it, it's not necessarily wrong. And she had, I think, set in her mind a certain look and feel she wanted to achieve. And the only variation she kind of gave herself was in the color and the tone and the way that basically the letter O was manipulated. I'm not asking that you be that limited. It's not wrong to be this limited, and this is not a wrong thing, but you can have variations that use different typefaces and look very different from each other. And that's probably going to be more typical. I think this is less typical, but the simplicity of it does make it easy to be an example. So that's why I chose it. So keep in mind that with concept 1, there may be completely different use of typeface versus concept 2 versus concept 3. Of course, many things probably should be not that different, because it is overall the brand and the message and the design personality. They should be like one idea, but they can have nuances. And I definitely want you to explore those variations. So don't be deterred by the fact that these logos look very similar in terms of the level of typography. Go in there, dive in there, and utilize as many typefaces as you think is important to do. And of course, never, ever forget this thank you page. Gratefulness is the key to success, my students. Okay, so what we're going to do tomorrow, or today, if you're watching this on Tuesday, is we're going to have the quick check-in meeting for the whole class throughout the class session. We're going to be working independently to develop this assignment, and I will be in the classroom. You're welcome to spend the entire classroom working there. Being in the classroom, I'll be on Zoom or meeting with you live if you come over. But I've just basically, don't get mad at me, but I just used the same schedule as last week because I was too lazy to change the times around. And hopefully this works for everybody. Again, they're only 9 minutes long, so just make sure you're on time and ready to go. And just, it's basically a quick check-in. You may be just getting started, you may be far along, there's no pressure to be either one, but we are going to try to share some of this on Thursday in some way. I'm not quite sure exactly what we're doing on Thursday. Maybe we'll have another class session and we'll meet in our groups again, or maybe we'll have another working session. Maybe give me feedback tomorrow if you have kind of a preference on what's going to work for you in terms of productivity and in terms of getting feedback. But I do think we had a great class last Thursday, and I want to kind of continue that model when appropriate. So that's basically it for now. Oh, I did update the Canvas. I'm sorry I didn't do it earlier. I was away for the weekend and didn't have my weekend to do this stuff. But I think we all had a good explanation of it on Thursday. So there's no surprises here. It's kind of what we talked about, and hopefully you've already gotten started. But basically I did add a new a Google Drive link for the completed portion of this assignment by the end of the week to be uploaded so that you continue to stay on course. Okay, reach out to me by email or Slack if you have any questions, or I'll see you tomorrow at the time that we have slotted here, and I'll email this out and Slack this out to everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk soon.